What's up, everyone? How we doing today? Thanks so much for joining the live stream. Let's see who we got here. Emma's in the chat. Hey, Emma. Glad you could join us. Let's see. Scream fan unfortunately can't join us tonight. We've got Arrowverse. Hey, Arrowverse. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a moderator. I appreciate you. We got Indoraptor. Hey, Indoraptor. Hey, Sebastian. We got Balloon Boy in the chat. Hey, Dylan. Hey, Zork. Glad you could be here. As always, thank you for moderating. We got Chocolate Ice. What's up? We got Sean in the chat. Hello. My new favorite channel. Thank you so much. That really means a lot. Glad you can make it today. We got Isaiah here. Hey, Isaiah. Glad you could make it. This is my first sort of later evening live stream. Right now it's 6:47 p.m. for me. I don't know about the rest of you. Usually I stream earlier in the day for my time, but I want to start streaming almost daily, but also at different times of the day so that everyone can sort of get a chance to join. So hopefully it's a good time for all of you. If right now is not the best time for you, don't worry. You can catch another stream another time. Tomorrow I'll probably stream a little earlier, probably like mid-afternoon for myself. Okay, it's same time for Arrowverse. Cool. We got Red Rum. Hello. How you doing? Glad you can make it. I made a Schumacher music video. Cool, I gotta check it out. Gotta spread the Schumacher joy. Zork lives in California. Hey Dino, glad you could make it. Yes, I've been streaming almost daily. That's the goal. Sometimes it doesn't always work out, but lately it's been almost daily. Glad you can make it. Yes, run them likes up. If you guys don't mind giving the stream a like, it helps the channel and helps boost this out to other people. Definitely helps me out a lot, and I appreciate it. W stream, thank you. We got Reagan here. Hey, Reagan, glad you can make it. All right, let's get into some Scream talk. What do you guys want to talk about today? Thanks for hanging out with me. It's always a good time. Let's talk some theories like we always do. How many Stu believers do we have in the chat? Yes, don't forget to sub if you haven't already. I feel like most of you here are subscribed already, which is awesome. I appreciate it. But my goal for this year is to get to 10K subs. I think we can do it. I just got past 8,700. So hopefully I can get to 10K before 2024 is over. Hey, Danny. Glad you could make it. Mark Hoffman would smoke every Ghostface. Is that the guy from Saw? I just watched the first Saw last night. Yes, let's talk about Scream 7. No new news yet, unfortunately. Just a whole bunch of rumors. We talked about it on the last stream, but we can kind of talk about it again in case there's any new viewers here today. I don't know if you guys know the rumors that are going around about Scream 7. There's a rumor that it's going to be the start of a new trilogy. You know, before Melissa and Jenna were fired, 7 was sort of going to be the conclusion of this new trilogy. But now apparently it's going to be the start of a new one. There's also rumors that Sydney's kids will be in it. Mark Kincaid is coming back. Supposedly a cult wants to go after Sydney, which I'm not surprised. I've always thought that Scream 7 would have Stu's cult going after Sydney. Thanks, Arrowverse. I appreciate it. Thanks, Soundwave. I'm sure I'll get there eventually, too. I just hope it's within the year. Have you seen the Scream fan film Scream Legacy? I think so. If we're talking about the same one, I've only ever seen one Scream fan film. If this is the one with the main character is Sydney's daughter, then yes, I've seen it. Watching the Saw movies soon. Yeah, I'm starting my rewatch process of the whole franchise. It's been several years since I last saw them, and I have yet to see the newest one. So I do want to rewatch all the old ones before I see it, since it's been so long. It's been like 7 years since I saw all the Saw movies. So I watched the first one last night. Might take a little break from Saw tonight, though. Change it up. I don't know what movie I'm going to watch tonight, so leave some recommendations, please. You guys know slashers are my favorite genre. Hey, dude who loves movies. Thank you so much. Yes, please give the stream a like. Dino asked, do you think they kill Stu with the classic headshot? If not, how do you think they will? So possibly with the headshot, just because it does need to be something more definitive where we're not really going to question whether or not Stu's alive anymore. And I think it would be poetic if it's a headshot, because the franchise always emphasizes like they can always come back unless you shoot them in the head. So for them to do that would definitely be like full circle. But I do know Craven Something Scary has said he thinks Stu's going to be decapitated. So that would be really cool. It's never been done before. No one's ever been decapitated in the Scream franchise. Balloon Boys says some people think that Dewey is alive and will be in Scream 7, but it's like a 10% chance. Yeah, I don't see that happening. As much as I would like to see Dewey again and David Arquette, I I think Dewey's a goner. I think the only way we're going to see Dewey ever again is in the form of a flashback, which I would absolutely love. I've said it a million times on my channel. I thought we were going to get a flashback of Dewey and Gale in Scream 6 from their time in New York City, because Scream 6 takes place in New York, and I thought we were going to get a flashback to them living there, and maybe the night that Dewey left her in the middle of the night. Yes, Jenna did quit. I don't know if I misspoke and said she was fired. Should Sydney and Stu die killing each other? Interesting. Stu definitely should die, as much as I love him. You know, I just want to see him back in at least in one movie. If they want to kill him off at the end, that's totally fine. I'm expecting it to happen. Should Sydney die? I don't know. I have talked about it before. There might come a day where she does need to die. I don't want her to. I love her. I want to see this franchise go on forever, and to have Sydney involved would be great. But I don't know. She might need to die one day. And if anyone's going to do it, maybe it should be Stu. Although I kind of want to see her finally take him down for good. So, no, I think Sydney should go on to at least Scream 8. Dylan asked, if you were in Scream, what character would you be related to? I'm gonna go with Randy. I just love Randy. Yes, I'm super excited for Scream 7. I hope we get some news soon. If Sydney dies, I would cry. Oh, I absolutely would cry my eyes out, probably. As long as it's a good, satisfying death, though, where it's like emotional, you want these things to get some emotion out of you. We have Jenna Ortega's biggest supporter in the chat. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I need to hear that Dewey theme one more time. Yeah. I wish we got a little something more with Dewey in Scream 6. I do feel like they kind of just like brushed over it. Yeah, I wish they included a little something more for Dewey in Scream 6. Hopefully we get something in Scream 7. I'm hoping they will finally do a Christmas setting. I hope so too. There were those rumors months and months ago. Don't know if they're still going through with it. Would be nice, especially because we're pretty sure that Sydney's kids are going to be in the movie. So just imagine them all on Christmas, like having a nice family time, opening presents, and then Ghostface shows up. That would be pretty cool. In Scream 7, do you think if Stu comes back, do you think he will see stuff like Sam? No, not necessarily. Maybe Sydney will see some stuff. You know, she's kind of been known to not really hallucinate, but maybe kind of hallucinate. Like, you know, she had that dream with her mom in Scream 3. And then some people think in Scream 2, when she's in the theater, like practicing the performance for the play, some people think when she sees Ghostface, that's a hallucination. I actually did a video on this a few weeks ago, if you want to check it out. I don't think Stu we'll see stuff. But maybe Sydney. It's possible. Zork asked, what do you think of the idea of a Ghostface getting arrested for a change and in the next movies getting a redemption arc, probably through a familial connection? I like the idea of Ghostface not dying at the end, whether it be they get away with it or they get arrested. Getting a redemption arc, though, I don't know. It would definitely be interesting to see. But yeah, I do like the idea of Ghostface getting arrested. And we just found out recently, like, the original script for Scream 6, and Quinn was supposed to get arrested, and she was going to be in jail in Scream 7 if they had gone that route with Scream 6. Isaiah hopes Sidney Prescott does not die in Scream 7. She's my #1 favorite character in the Scream franchise. She's a survivor and a fighter. Yeah, a part of me thinks Sidney is never gonna die. Nev Campbell did just do that interview for People magazine where she says, like, so many people tell her how much Sidney has inspired them. So yeah, I just feel like she's gonna live forever. Sean says it's funny to rewatch Scream 3 and see how easily people are killed compared to 5 and 6. Yes. Totally agree with you. Scream 3 was just very tame. The kills were very tame because of censorship in movies at the time due to real life events. But yeah, everyone, it takes like one stab to kill them in Scream 3 compared to 5 and 6 for sure. Biometal suggested the movie Hell High. Interesting, I never heard of it. I'll have to check it out. Thank you for the recommendation. Have you ever seen the original Black Christmas? I have not. I don't think I did, no. I've only seen the 2009 remake. I know there was another one in like 2021. I didn't see that one either. I do have to see the original though. Do you think Stu is alive? Of course. Will Stu see Billy in Scream 7, like how Sam saw him? Maybe. That would be interesting. Something that I wanted to see in Scream 7 when Stu comes back and Sam come face to face, I wanted Sam to hallucinate Billy while she's talking to Stu so that we could see Stu and Billy on screen together again. Even though Stu wouldn't see Billy, they would still be on screen together. But yeah, maybe Stu will see him. You know, one of the first things I thought about after Melissa was fired was like, oh, great. Now Skeet Ulrich isn't going to be in the movie. Maybe something with Stu, like the fact that he's been in hiding for almost 30 years. He, I don't know, has gone a little crazy and he's like nostalgic for 1996, his time with Billy. Maybe he will see Billy. We got Ghostface Fanatic in the chat. Hello. Hey, Dexter. Glad you could make it. I'm sorry you had a bad day. Hopefully it gets a little better. Hopefully tomorrow is a better day as well. Hey Grant, glad you can make it. Have you ever watched the Hatchet series? It's newer and the killer is played by Kane Hodder, the most famous Jason, but has that old slasher look and feel to it. I have not seen it. I've kind of been hearing some things about it. I gotta check it out. Let me add it to the list. My list just keeps growing, and I hardly make a dent in it, but I will one day. I'm determined to watch every movie ever. Sean says it would be cool if the flashback with Dewey and Gail had Stu stalking them in the background. Interesting. Yeah, I would like that. I've said before that when Stu reveals himself, I hope that they give us some flashbacks, like to fill in the gaps and tie things together. Like, you guys know, I think Stu killed Dewey. I think he attacked Gail in Scream 6. So I hope we get some flashbacks where they fill in the audience and show Stu present in those scenes. So yeah, I would like this idea. Reagan says Nev had it put in her contract that Sydney can never die. I did hear something about that. Yeah, if that's true, it's kind of a bummer that, like, we know for sure that Sydney's always going to be fine. It kind of takes away the suspense in any scenes that involve her. But I did hear this. Do you think Stu survived the TV? Absolutely. I have a video on my channel called I think it's called 6 Reasons Stu Survived His Injuries. Yes, I absolutely believe this. Chocolate Ice says you definitely got to have Matthew Lillard or Emma Roberts in one of your streams one day. I would be far too nervous. I wouldn't even know how to act, what to ask them. I would be so nervous. I don't know how Craven Something Scary on here has so many interviews with people involved in movies, and I believe his goal is to one day have Matthew Lillard on. And, you know, good for him. I hope it happens. I would love to see him interview Matthew Lillard. Me personally, I don't know if I could ever do it. Would be very crazy. I was always upset by the fact that Dewey never mentioned Tatum. It's like they didn't even need them to be siblings. I agree. It bothers me a little bit that we never really got a scene with Dewey talking about Tatum. I guess maybe it's too hard for him to talk about it. We get that little moment in Scream 2 when Gail, Dewey, Randy, and Joel are on the college campus talking about Ghostface, and they're talking about the murders from Woodsboro the year prior, and Gail mentions Tatum, and Dewey kind of gives a look. But that was it. That's all we ever get. And then that's all that we get until Scream 5, where we see Tatum's ashes. Like, he has a box with Tatum's ashes on his shelf in his home. I don't know if you've ever realized that, which I thought was a nice touch. I like that they did that. But yeah, every time I watch Scream 2 and Dewey and Sydney first see each other on campus, I always think to myself, that would be a good time for them to be like, oh yeah, I miss Tatum. Like, I wish Tatum could be here at school with me. Yeah, this definitely has upset me. People do also think Sydney will die in Scream 7, but like Reagan said, Sydney can't die. Yeah, I definitely don't think she's gonna die. Hello, glad you can join the channel and be a part of the stream. Slickman Fonts. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Do you think Sydney's husband dies in Scream 7? It seems like it would only make sense to kill him off in the last one to bring Sydney back. I don't know. I think it could go either way. I have some theories. A part of me thinks he can be the opening kill because it does need to be something good to have Sydney want to get involved again, in my opinion. You know, Scream 5, Dewey died, which was a big deal, so that's what got her back involved. A part of me wants Mark to be in the movie a little bit longer. I want to see him interact with Sydney because we've never got to see them actually be together as husband and wife with their kids. So I don't know. I think it's 50-50 at this point. I'm so happy Scream 7 is back to being about Sydney again. Me too. You and me both. I think this is what we needed. After Melissa was fired and Jenna quit, I said on my channel, like, we just need Nev back. 7 needs to be a Sydney-focused story. What career do you think would be right for Sydney? I'm not thinking cop, too stereotypical. I don't know. In Scream 4, she was a writer. Maybe she's still writing books. They don't talk about it at all in Scream 5. I don't know. I'd like to think she's still writing. What would she be writing? I don't know. Maybe like motivational books? Self-help books? I mean, she's been through so much. I don't know if she would want to keep writing about her experience with Ghostface. She might want to move on from that. So maybe it's just like motivational books and how to overcome obstacles in life. I like the idea personally of Gail getting a really interesting opening kill scene, maybe at her TV station. I have speculated before, is Gail going to be the opening kill? I hope not. Like, I want to get one more movie with her. I want her to, I don't know. I personally want her to die, if she's going to die. I definitely want her to die in the final act, saving Sydney and her kids. But who knows? Maybe they'll want to make the opening scene epic, and the best way to do that is for Gail to die in the opening scene. 1 second, guys. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Soundwave says, if Stu is coming back in the new trilogy, I think they need to hold off revealing him until the 3rd film. They don't need to blow their wad in the 1st film. you know, I just think they've been building it up in 5 and 6. So I just think that that's where it's been leading to. And I don't really want to wait any longer. I get it, but I just think Scream 7 is where they've been building it up to. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. Ugh, sometimes the chat scrolls away from me. I lose my place. I got a lot of comments in the chat. I'm trying my best to get to everyone. If you have a pressing question you want me to answer, feel free to send in a super chat. Those take priority. And I will be sure to answer those. But I am trying to get to everyone. Sydney should be a counselor, in my opinion. I think that makes the most sense for her. I like that idea. I could definitely see her as a counselor. I saw a video of people saying Stu was in Amber Freeman's party. You can hear him. Yeah, so they had Matthew Lillard do some like voiceover work. So Matthew Lillard did provide his voice. He was someone at the party. I think he says nice house Freeman to Amber, which I love because it was his house. I think he also was the chrome face Ghostface from Stab 8 when Richie is watching YouTube videos. Yeah, he's like the chrome face Ghostface with the flamethrower or whatever it is. Do you think Angelina could return and be a possible killer? I guess there is a little chance of it happening, but I personally don't want it to happen. I know there's a lot of people out there who like Angelina, want her to come back. I personally don't care for Angelina at all. She is possibly one of my least favorite characters in the whole franchise. So I do not care to see her again. It's a different story though if she is helping Stu. I wouldn't mind that. If she was like Stu's partner leading the cult. Let's hope Stu realizes that he has to put bulletproof padding underneath his Ghostface mask. Therefore, can throw off the fans, viewers, and characters in the film. Imagine, imagine they try to shoot him in the head and he has bulletproof protection. Sydney versus Laurie Strode. Sydney versus Nancy Thompson. I think. Well, I'm assuming you mean in if they got into a fight, or do you just mean my personal preference? If it's my personal preference, who I like more, it's always going to be Sydney. But if you mean who would win in a fight, I think Sydney would definitely beat Laurie Strode. Sydney is way tougher. Sydney and Nancy, though, would be a pretty fair fight, I'd say. Nancy's pretty tough, too. But I'm still going to go with Sydney. We got a super chat from Sean. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you being here. I like to think Stu annoyed Neil with his jokes the whole time he was held captive. Yeah, probably. I always wonder, like, what were they doing? Because they had him captive for at least 2 days, possibly 3. I think the whole movie takes place over the course of 3 days. And I think to myself, like, were they feeding Neil? Were they giving him food and water? Or was he just suffering the whole time? Yeah, that's a funny thought. Stu annoying Neil with his jokes the whole time. I wish they would have like filmed a scene of that so we could have like a deleted scene. Thank you so much for your super chat, Sean. I appreciate you. Do you think Angelina from Scream 3 could be alive and was a second killer returns with Stu? I do think that there's a chance that she was the second killer in Scream 3. I've talked about it in theory videos before. The way that the movie was shot, it was shot with 2 killers in mind. Will she come back? I don't know. Like I just said a few minutes ago, I wouldn't care to see her again unless she's like leading the cult with Stu. As long as Stu comes back, they can do whatever else they want. Do you think Stu deserves redemption? I don't want him to. A lot of times I do like in movies when or TV shows when a character who kind of starts out as evil and like an enemy of the main characters, I do kind of like when they have a redemption arc later on. But in this case with Scream, I don't think I would like that. I think I want Stu to stay, a killer. Do you think Sydney would get PTSD and freeze up if she sees Stu? Maybe. There's a good chance for sure. I cannot wait for that reveal. I'm so excited. I think there's a good chance she will be in shock. People say that Stu was in Scream 3 and 4. That scene when Sydney sees the Hollywood set of her old house, you see the killer teleport. People think that could have been Stu in that scene. It's definitely possible. I have talked about before how, like I said earlier, the way that Scream 3 was shot, it was shot with 2 killers in mind. So that scene that you're talking about at her house on the Stab 3 set, it does seem like Ghostface teleports because Ghostface was just outside of the house with Sydney and then shows up, pops out of the closet inside. So, yeah, some people think that that could be Stu. I know Nerdbox here on YouTube has this series of videos where they do talk about Stu secretly being in the background. Oh, cool. Yeah. It's so easy to miss things in these movies. So that's why I love talking about it with you guys because we get to share different things that we notice in the movies. And there's just something, always something new to notice with every rewatch. That's why I can watch the movies as often as I do. If Gale is Ghostface in Scream 7, I'm leaving the cinema. I feel like they wouldn't do that at this point. You know, it worked almost 30 years ago, maybe. There's a fan-made Scream 7 trailer. It has Matthew Lillard and Emma Roberts in it. I might have seen this. I feel like I saw one with Emma Roberts, and Matthew Lillard might have been in it. But I have to look it up and give it another watch. Hey, Jamie. Glad you could make it. Nev said if they kill her character off in this film, she would not return, but she's back, so she's not dying, I don't think. Yeah, she's probably not gonna return. I mean, not gonna die. Yeah, that trailer is just fan-made. Do you think we'll see Sydney's kids? I think so. I don't see why they wouldn't include them at this point. You know, we found out in Scream 5 she's a mom, didn't see them. Obviously, she wasn't in Scream 6. So, you know, this is the third movie where we know that Sydney is a mom. So I think now's the time to include them. There also is a rumor that they want her daughter, her like oldest teenage daughter, to be the lead going forward, like the main character. So yeah, I think it would be smart for them to include the kids now, especially if Mark Kincaid is going to be in it. Like, who's going to be watching the kids? If we spend time with Sydney and Mark, I guess the kids have to be there too. Hey, Landon, glad you could make it. I think Gail 100% will die. I think there is a very good chance. I think she's lucky to have made it out of Scream 6 alive, and 7 might be her time to go. I believe Sydney has 3 kids. For some reason, I always thought it was 2. But then just recently we found out the original script for Scream 6, and according to that script, she did have 3. Hey, Mr. Beer. How are you? I want to see him in 7 too. I just figured him coming back would top almost anything else they can do afterward. That's true. And that's why I think this whole thing is thrown off a little bit, because Scream 7 was supposed to be the grand finale of this new trilogy with 5 and 6. So now, you know, if now 7 is the start of a new trilogy, who knows what they're going to do. Stu coming back is just a grand finale type of thing rather than the start of a trilogy. You know, some people say like, oh, if he was gonna come back, it would have been in Scream 5. No, I think that they were setting it up. You have to build up to something big like that. So we'll see if it happens in 7, or maybe now it'll be in Scream 9. I hope not, though. Would you like it if the new trilogy titled with terms instead of numbers? And what would you name each part? My opinion, Scream Once Again, Scream Legacy, The Final Scream. That's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I like the whole numbers thing. I think it could be like a number and words like that, like, you know, Scream 9, The Final Scream. I like that. I like a combination of the two. I definitely think that they should stick with the numbers. But to have something like The Final Scream would be cool to have that one day. Hey, Forrest. I really liked the original Scream setting because it felt contained. Having the movie in a small city and fleshing out the locations makes it much more enjoyable to me. Yeah, I agree. I've always said that my favorite location for the Scream movies is Woodsboro. Some people, you know, think it's been done before. We should move on to somewhere else, which I get. But for me, Scream is just always Woodsboro. I'll never get sick of it taking place in Woodsboro. For like Scream 7, I have said before, they could start out somewhere else first and then go back to Woodsboro. Like maybe it'll start in Seattle where Sydney lives, and then maybe they kidnap her kids, bring them to Woodsboro to lure Sydney back to Woodsboro. Because especially like if Stu comes back, I should say when Stu comes back, I would like to see it take place at his old house. So, but it's like Sydney would never step foot back in there again unless Ghostface kidnaps her kids, has them in the house, and lures her back that way. Yes, I think Matthew Lillard was the Ghostface with the flamethrower, and his line is so funny. He's like, "This shit is lit." Matthew Lillard is eager to return to the franchise. Yes, he's been wanting this since it was supposed to happen in Scream 3. He I hope it happens for him. Skeet Ulrich always says like, I know he wants it and I hope that it can happen for him. Hey Pyro, if you're still here, that's okay if you can't stick around. That's exciting, writing a book. Sydney will win against Laurie Strode. Absolutely. I think Sydney is a lot tougher. She's had a lot more action scenes compared to Laurie. Hey Scott, glad you could make it. I'm good. Hope you are as well. I have not made any plans to go to Stu's house yet. And can you try to do another live stream later on? I don't think I can tonight. I'm probably gonna go for another 30 minutes on here, and then I have to end the stream. I will do some more tomorrow, though. Hopefully, you can join tomorrow. I might do 2 streams tomorrow. I'm really enjoying hanging out with you guys. So I might do like a mid-afternoon one for me, for my time, and then maybe like a later evening one. So hopefully you can catch one of those. Why did Stu let his nephew Vince die in the 5th film? It's a good question. I have a few theories on this. There's a lot of different ways they could explain it. My first thought is maybe Richie and Amber went rogue and just decided to kill him to add to the kill count. I don't know. It could be maybe Stu wanted revenge on his sister, Leslie, because obviously Leslie is Vince's mom. Maybe Leslie has forgotten about Stu. You know, because there's two options with Leslie. Either she could have been helping him stay in hiding all this time, or she just moved on with her life and forgot about her brother, or she knows he's alive, but she chooses not to really help him. She'll like keep the secret that he's alive, but wants no part of his whole thing. So maybe Stu just wanted to make his sister pay. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways they could go. There's also a Scream 8 happening. I hope so. There is a rumor that this is going to be the start of a new trilogy. So that would imply a Scream 8 and a Scream 9. Imagine if Ethan ends up coming back in Scream 7 instead of Stu. I would I would be absolutely furious if that happened. I'd rather, if Stu's not going to come back, I'd rather like a brand new Ghostface than freaking Ethan returning. You know how I feel about Ethan Landon. I think Angelina is dead. Roman wouldn't want any loose ends hanging that could have come back and ruined his plan. That's a good point. Landon, don't even. Do you think Sydney's children being older in Scream 7 could be down to them being her stepkids? Obviously, she would have a younger child with Kincaid. Interesting. I didn't think about that being a possibility. I guess it's possible, because we don't know when Sydney and Kincaid got together. I always assumed that they were not together in Scream 4. Obviously, at the end of Scream 3, it's kind of implied that they're going to date, you know, because he was there to watch a movie with Sydney and Gail and Dewey. But then in Scream 4, there's no mention of him. And I always think that Sydney is single in Scream 4. So I've always assumed that her and Mark kind of get together again after the events of Scream 4. So yeah, maybe he already has a kid. That's a good point, and definitely possible. Maybe he had a kid with someone between the year 2000 and 2011. I do think that Mark is going to survive Scream 7 because his kids would be devastated if he died. They would be devastated, but you know, these movies got to have stakes. As Amber said, our movie has stakes. Maybe So the rumor is that Sydney's daughter is going to be the new main character. And maybe she's kind of destined to have the same fate as Sydney in a way. Sydney's mom was murdered when she was a teenager. Maybe her dad will be murdered. I think it'd be cool to see one of Sydney's kids kill Ghostface. That would be cool. I think Stu and Jill will come back, and Stu will betray Jill the same way Billy was going to betray Stu. I hope so. I sure would love to see that. I hope it can happen. Emma Roberts is a badass American Horror Story scream queens, but I'd prefer Stu back before Jill. I'm with you. You know, if God forbid Stu doesn't come back, I'll accept a Jill return. That is like the only thing that can make me happy if Stu doesn't come back. Jill did not get shot in the head. She got shot in the chest. So there's definitely a chance she can come back. That was the original plan for Scream 5, had it been made back in the day. Hey, Professor Stewart, glad you can make it. Do you think Gail got a good enough look at her boyfriend being thrown overhead to know it couldn't have been Quinn in the Ghostface costume in Scream 6? Maybe. I don't know. I hope in Scream 7, maybe Gail will say, like, there's no way that could have been Quinn that attacked me. I don't know. I hope so. We got another super chat from Sean. Thank you so much, Sean. You said, I think it was a missed opportunity to not have Sam be the love child of Sid and Billy. That would definitely be interesting. It obviously would mean that Sydney had a baby in secret, like between the events of the first two movies, and we as the audience never found out. That definitely would be interesting. And like, you know, I don't know if they would reveal that now. I don't think they would do that now. But if they wanted to kind of reveal that to us in Scream 5, you know, it could have been because Sydney didn't want the world to know that she had a serial killer's baby. Yeah, that would definitely have been interesting. Thank you for your super chat, Sean. I appreciate you. Do you like the idea of Seven doing the new Nightmare route? I don't think I want to do that way. Not Scream 7. I don't want it for the next movie. If they want to do that down the road, sure. I definitely would love to see that one day. Maybe like the 10th film, because you know there's rumors that they're making an 8th one and a 9th one with her kids being the lead. So if they want to like have a fully fleshed out trilogy with the daughter, then they need to wait to do the new Nightmare thing till Scream 10. Thanks, Ethan. Appreciate you. I hope if they bring Stu back, they don't spoil it in the trailer. I hate how modern trailers do that kind of stuff. I'm with you. I'm hoping and praying that they do not market this movie with Stu. It needs to remain top secret. I also hope there's no leaks. I don't want any leaks. No leaked photos from set, no script leaks, no leaked footage the way that there was for Scream 6. God, I hope not. I've said before that I was spoiled for Scream 6. The internet spoiled it for me. I knew who 2 of the killers were in Scream 6. And I refuse to be spoiled for Scream 7. So, God forbid there is any talk of leaks for Scream 7. You guys probably will not be hearing from me because I will be avoiding the internet at all costs. I will not be on YouTube. I will not be on TikTok, Twitter, nothing. But I'm with you about the trailer. I feel like Scream 6 really revealed a lot in the trailer also. And I wish they hadn't. Like the bodega scene. If you notice, they showed practically the entire bodega scene in the trailer. Other than how Sam and Tara got out of that situation, like tipping over the shelves, and that's how they got away. They showed the entire bodega scene besides that part. And can you just imagine, like, seeing that bodega scene for the very first time without knowing what was coming, without seeing that from the trailer? I agree. I think trailers need to keep things to a minimum and not reveal so much. What do you think would have happened if they continued the Carpenter sisters' story, and how would it mirror Scream 3's Avenging Brothers story? So I have talked about this before. I had this theory about Tara being a Ghostface. I know that sounds a little crazy, but I think it would have been great because, like you said, the whole Avenging Brother thing, like these newer killers in the new movies are mirroring the original killers. Scream 5 and 1, it was the boyfriend. Scream 6 and 2, it was the parent of the boyfriend. Scream 3 was the half sibling of the main character. And Sam, half sibling, is Tara. And so now, obviously, that's not going to happen. But in my opinion, a way that they could mirror Roman is with Stu, because in Scream 3 with Roman, we find out that it goes back to the original, and he was kind of pulling the strings in the original movie. And that's what's going to be the case with Stu. We're going to find out that he was pulling the strings in Scream 5 as the cult leader. You know, like, in a way, he was controlling Richie and Amber, kind of the way Roman was controlling Billy and Stu. So that's how I think it'll now mirror Roman. But yeah, I had this whole theory about Tara being Ghostface. If you haven't seen my Tara theory videos, definitely go check them out. Very interesting. Unfortunate that it can't happen now. Who are 2 Ghostfaces that weren't a duo that you would have liked to see as a duo? That's a good question. I think I've said before, Jill and Billy would have been a pretty good duo. Scream video game. Should one be made? Absolutely. I would buy that game in a heartbeat. And then I could like live stream and play it with you guys. That would be awesome. I'm surprised like they haven't made one. I guess like some people say Dead by Daylight has a Ghostface in it, but I'm not familiar with that. Paul says, do we mention Tatum in a deleted scene in Scream 4? I didn't know that. Scream 4 has so many deleted scenes. I need to check out that scene. Did anyone else wish Kirby had her same haircut she had in 6? Or was it just me because I thought Kirby looked like she had a bad wig on? Yeah, she was wearing a wig. It would have been cool if she had the same haircut from 4. Awesome. Perfect for listening to while I'm doing my meal prep. Yeah, I'm the same way. I put on other people's live streams when I'm doing things, so glad I can be that for you. Chocolate Ice says, I heard a Scream game is being made. Yeah, I was going to say that. As I was just talking about the idea of a Scream game, I thought for a second, like, didn't I actually hear something about that? This has become my favorite part of the day. Awesome. I love that. That makes me so happy to hear. And I agree. I have really been enjoying live streaming with you guys lately and just hanging out with you guys. It's so cool that we can just talk about our favorite movies. I love it. I could do it all day if I could, if I didn't have any other responsibilities. Sometimes I gotta end the stream to do other things, but if I could, I would stream all day. Jill got electrocuted with paddles to the head. No way she would survive that. She would be brain dead. Well, you know, she did kind of survive it. She got up again and was fully functioning. That isn't what killed her. So I think she could have survived. Do you think Billy or Stu killed Casey? So I've always thought it was Billy who did the actual killing because, you know, of the whole killing styles. Like, we know that Stu's signature move is always the 2 hands above the head, and Billy's is 1 hand, which this Ghostface used 1 hand to kill Casey and also strangled Casey, which is Billy's move. Billy later on strangles Sydney briefly. So I think it was Billy who essentially did the killing of Casey. I do think Stu was there also. You know, I think they were both there, but I do think Billy did the actual killing. We got a super chat from Dim. Thank you so much, Dim. Should there be an origin of Ghostface outfit? Interesting. Sure, I would like to see that. I know that Dewey says to Sheriff Burke that these costumes are in every 5 and dime in the state. So it definitely would be interesting to see the origin of it. I don't know what that would be. I would like to see how Stu and Billy decided to use this costume. But yeah, an origin definitely would be interesting. Thank you so much for your super chat, Dim. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you being here. We got another super chat from Zork the Dark one of my moderators. Thank you so much. You said Danny Johnson on Dead by Daylight doesn't call his victims. He stalks them for days before breaking into their homes and murdering them. Interesting. I have to play this game. People always tell me about it. I gotta check it out. Maybe one day. But that's interesting. He doesn't call them and he stalks them for days. Imagine Scream 7 doesn't have any phone calls at all. I would not like that. Scream needs the phone calls. But thank you for your super chat, Zork. I appreciate it. But speaking of Scream having phone calls, have you guys ever noticed that Scream 2 is the only opening scene without any phone calls? Every other opening scene has a phone call. Balloon Boy says, I do think Kirby is a goner in Scream 7. I think she just could be killed in the police station trying to escape Ghostface and shooting him. You know, a part of me does think Kirby is going to die in Scream 7 if she even returns. We don't know if she's going to come back. She might not. I sure hope she does, though. I love Kirby. She's one of my top favorite characters of all time, the whole franchise. Sean says Kincaid is so boring. I just feel like we didn't see that much of him. Hopefully they give him a good storyline. Hey, John. Sorry to hear you're home with the flu, but glad you could hang out with us. I hope you feel better soon. Did you see in Scream 6, Gail was attacked? She gets a phone call, but it was not Quinn, it was Stu. You can see an area code from Woodsboro. Yes. I have talked about this a bunch on my channel. She gets a phone call from a phone number with a 707 area code, which is a Woodsboro area code, which is confirmed from Scream 5. In Scream 5, Amber and Wes Hicks, both their phone numbers are 707, and they're from Woodsboro. Richie, some people say, oh, the Bailey family was using Richie's phone. Richie lived in Modesto, not Woodsboro, and the Bailey family was also not from Woodsboro. The movie creators even confirmed in an interview that they were originally from the Midwest. So none of the Bailey Kirsch family were from Woodsboro. So who called Gail with the 707 area code? I think it was Stu. Hey, Z Smooth, glad you could join us, even if it's a little bit late. I am probably going to go for another 15 minutes, maybe 30. I don't know. I'm super behind in the chat. I try to get to everyone. But if you have a question you want me to answer, feel free to send in a super chat. Those take priority. But I will try to get to everyone before I end the stream in 15 or 30 minutes. Tara being a Ghostface would have been amazing. She seemed a bit excited when she stabbed Ethan. I totally agree. It seemed like she liked it. Also, a part of my Tara theory is, you know, they kind of make it seem like it's going to be Sam who snaps and becomes a Ghostface because she has that darkness in her from Billy. But I think Sam being Ghostface is a little obvious because that's what they want us to think. So a real plot twist would be it being Tara. People need to stop leaking stuff. People who do that ruin it for everyone. Totally agree. I think it's so unfair. I hate spoiling things for people. Like, I almost always put a spoiler warning for things, even if it's things that came out like 10, 20 years ago sometimes. If it's like a big show that is super popular, like Game of Thrones, for example, that show came out like 15 years ago and it ended like 5 years ago. But that's just a big show with a lot of plot twists that I would never want to spoil for anyone. But yeah, with the Scream 6 leaks, I was unfortunately spoiled. And so I wasn't even on YouTube yet. I didn't have my channel here. I was only on TikTok. And all my comments on TikTok were about the leaks. So I got spoiled. And then I felt it was my duty to delete all of the comments so that other people wouldn't be spoiled. But then I was just spoiled. So if that happens again, I'm not doing it this time. I gotta look out for myself sometimes. Zork thinks Jill and Roman would have been the apex duo. Sydney doesn't survive that. Definitely would have been cool to see Jill and Roman. Hey Ryan, glad you can make it. I'm just super grateful we're getting Scream 7. For a few months it was looking very grim, but I'm happy we can be excited again. Me too. I'm so excited. I would have been devastated if they said they're not making a Scream 7. I'm so happy that we get to have some more fun here on my channel and other people's channels. I love that we have this little community here where we can just talk about Scream. I'm so happy I get to talk about it with other people who are just as obsessed as I am. Did anyone read the original script of Scream where Maureen was supposedly taking advantage of Stu and Billy? I didn't read it, but like I saw Beyond the Masks video about it. That was definitely interesting. Definitely adds another layer to Billy and Stu's motive. I wonder why they chose not to go with that. There was rumors about a Scream game. Yeah, I thought I heard that. Hopefully we can get a little update on that soon. I think if they reboot Nightmare on Elm Street, the opening should be Kirby researching possible Ghostface attacks. and finds a file labeled Fred Krueger. I don't know if I would like that, because then obviously that would mean they take place in the same universe. And I don't really like the idea of Scream being supernatural the way that Nightmare on Elm Street is. Hello, glad you could join us. Who do you think had the best death in the Scream franchise? This is a tough one. Someone asked me that in the last stream, and I went with Tatum. I do think it was a creative kill with the garage door, and I love Tatum, so it is an emotional death for me, which is something that you want from these movies. Oh, sorry you missed the notification. I will be going live again tomorrow, almost every day. I'm going to try to do it daily, so no worries if you missed this one. Maybe you can catch the next one. Unfortunately, I do think I'm going to end the stream now. Oh, wait, we have a super chat from Silver Princess. Thank you so much. In the 5th Game of Thrones book, A Dance with Dragons, there's actually a Ghostface in Winterfell, a hooded figure killing the Boltons. Interesting. I am not familiar with the books at all. I have never read the Game of Thrones books. I have wanted to. I will admit, I'm not a big reader. I used to be back in the day. I used to read so much. And then one day I just kind of stopped and never really got back into it. I just feel like I'd rather be like watching movies or TV shows. But that's interesting. Thank you for your super chat, Silver Princess. I appreciate you being here. I hope you're looking forward to the new season of House of Dragons coming out soon. I think it's June 16th. It's going to come out. I'm super excited for that. Absolutely, Sebastian. If you want to make me a drawing of Scream 7 poster, that would be awesome. Hey, Tommy. Hey, Brandon. I'm glad you could make it, but unfortunately, I am going to end the stream very soon. What time will you be going live tomorrow? I'm not sure. I tend to not really plan these things, and it's more just like random. So definitely turn on all notifications for my channel so that you can be notified the second I go live, because sometimes it's just random. I don't know what time zone you are. For me, I'm in Eastern time, so I'll probably do like mid-afternoon Eastern time, and then possibly another evening one like tonight, because it seems like a lot of people could tune in tonight. Hey, Mad Blood, happy Sunday. That's okay, Sean. Hopefully you can catch a different one. No worries. All right, so thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight, guys. Thank you for all your comments, your questions. Thank you to those who sent in super chats. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys can join the stream tomorrow. Like I said, turn on all notifications so you don't miss it. I will be doing streams quite often from now on. So hopefully you guys have a good rest of your night. Happy Sunday. I hope tomorrow you have a good start to the week, whether it be with work or school. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. And I'll talk to you guys soon.